So the Packers have to rebound here against the Panthers. 2 crushing losses for Green Bay when we were expecting them to make a run here at perhaps even the NFC North just a couple weeks ago. And it's not really been Jordan Love's fault. I was listening to a Packers podcast. I can't believe that now I'm listening to Packers podcasts, trying to get ready for these segments and these shows now. But as long as Packers fans are listening, we have to be informed and up to date. And on the podcast I was listening to, Locked On Packers, it's very good. There was just some statistics about Jordan Love that I thought would be fun to share before we get into the game a little bit more. Since week 9, when given a clean pocket, Jordan Love leads the league in completion percentage, nearly 75%. He has the 3rd most yards, 3rd most touchdowns, 6th PFF passing grade, 3rd most big-time throws, and the lowest turnover-worthy play rate. That would be the best in the league. And 9 straight games now with 5 or more explosive plays is the longest streak in the NFL, something Aaron Rodgers never did in Green Bay. So Jordan Love, it's not been his fault so far. This is great if you're a Jordan Love fan. But at the same time, I don't want to sit up here. A lot of our titles are positive towards the Packers because we've generally been positive about Green Bay this year for good reason, despite their losses earlier in the year. But I don't want to sit here and say, oh, Jordan Love is the franchise quarterback. All is good. Because even though the expectations coming into the year were just to have Jordan Love be good by the end, they change in the NFL. It's a weekly sport. And where Green Bay was 2 weeks ago was, hey, we could win the division. And you can't go and lose to the Giants. You can't lose to the Bucs in Green Bay in those games. So while on the season, I think it's been very successful if you're a Packer fan, the current mood is this defense needs to figure it out. Because if they lose to Carolina, Joe Barry will not be welcomed back into the town of Green Bay.
Yeah, this is a must show up, perform, look like a good football team type of game. And if you lose, it's time for an alarm because this Carolina Panthers team is terrible. And yes, Jordan Love had a good game last week and the defense was bad. But we've said in the last show that Baker Mayfield of the Bucs offense, they've been playing okay. I guess we can give him a pass. If you come out and lose to Carolina, I expect Jordan Love to play well. And if your defense doesn't look good against this team, who their only 2 wins, they've scored 9 points and 13 points, it's serious cause for concern. You have to come out and win this game like 28-6.
This is a good spot to get right for the defense. Yeah. Carolina hasn't scored 21 points or more in 8 straight games.
But I'm talking both. I'm talking an all-around complete dominant performance, a one-sided victory if I'm a Packers fan. Defense looks good. Jordan Love looks good. That's what you have to see.
I want to see Jordan Love look good because one thing, no one's really talking about this, but the Panthers have the second best pass defense in the NFL.
That is, yeah.
Only one team has given up fewer passing yards, and this isn't something you'd expect, right? But the way this game is going to go, I think, I've got the game script in my hands here, right? The NFL has leaked the script for this one.
Leak it.
The Panthers are going to run effectively early because the Packers have a terrible run defense. Packers are going to sort of keep up, but fall behind just a little bit as Jordan Love struggles initially against the Panthers pass defense. The Green Bay is going to wisen up and stack the box. And then what's going to happen once you've put people in the box and the Panthers can't run? Is Bryce Young going to carry this offense? Are the Panthers going to put together an incredible passing performance? No. The Packers defense will shut him down. They'll get good field position and Jordan Love will execute. I don't think it's going to be a pretty game. I don't think you're going to see like Packers by 30. But the Packers, I think, will comfortably win this game after falling behind just a little bit in the first quarter. I don't think the Packers have much to worry about. But if they do lose this game, I think you have to start thinking long-term about the direction. Because these aren't meaningless games, right? This is a team that even though they're mostly out of the playoff run now, they had a lot to play for and didn't get it done. You need to be able to compete in December.
Well, wait, I think that they are 100% in the playoff race at the Green Bay's schedule is Carolina, Minnesota, Chicago.
If they were to finish 3-0, they're in.
They're in,
right?
For sure. They're definitely getting it. I think this game, both for this season and the long run, if you lose to Carolina, Barry will be fired. If they lose because of their defense, he will be fired.
100%.
And I know that LaFleur is, kind of said I can't remember what his quote was, but it is basically that Barry's sticking around for now at least. If they lose to Carolina, he'll be gone. That'll be the end of it. This year alone, though, the good Packers are good enough to get to at least a divisional round. Like, they can win a wild card game with the way that they've been playing recently, assuming they play Detroit or Tampa Bay.
And like Detroit's a team who they just went in and smacked.
Yeah. But this is a spot here. It's nice for Green Bay because there have been a lot of struggles, and you get a Panthers offense that puts up 14.7 points per game. And just think about rooting for a team that scores 14 points per game. That is torture. Well, yeah. I mean, you kind of do.
What do we score? 15 points?
I mean, but that's torturous
14?
to watch.
Yeah.
They're 31st in passing yards per game. Like, this is not an offense that's going to light it up on you the way Baker Mayfield did. Baker was flawless towards the end of that game. Carolina will not be like that. And if they are, that's when you can – it's almost good for the Packers because if they do get lit up, you can sit back and go, all right, like, we have to make this. There's no more excuses for this. You can't say, well, Baker, Mike Evans, Godwin, like, those are talented guys. This is the worst offense in the National Football League. If it's on the defense again, changes have to be made.
Yeah.
And I will say this. I think Joe Barry's gone at the end of the season. The only reason the change hasn't been made now is because who are you going to bring in that's going to do better now? There just isn't anyone, right? Joe Barry, he knows the players. He knows how to coordinate a defense. Like, he gives you some floor. Making a coordinator change in week 16 is desperation.
It's like the Vikings with Ed Donatel last year.
But this needs to be a spot where you seriously bounce back in a big way against a rookie quarterback who has struggled mightily and really has nobody around him, against an offense who looks like a college-level Iowa-type offense.
To me, it's really the defense needs to step up here.
Because Jordan Love is, like you said, has looked okay and played well.
He's looked okay, and the Carolina defense, it's not great, but the secondary has been good. So
Carolina,
they could be slow, the Green Bay offense to start.
Their 2 wins, they've scored 13 and 9 points in their 2 wins. You have to come out here and hold this team.
Yeah, but they're hot. They just won
against a team arguably worse than them. You got to hold them to under 13 points in this game.
Yeah, it's a big bounce back.
Win like a 24-13 type game.
And look, winning cures all. In the NFL and in all sports, winning cures all. If the Packers win this game 16-13, there's going to be talk about what happens at the end of the year, but it's on to Minnesota. It's on to Minnesota and New Year's Eve.
For the time being, present day, week by week.
Yep, week by week. And that's an important way for the Packers, at least, to view this, because 2 weeks ago we sat here and we were planning. We had a show planned out for when they beat the Giants on Monday Night Football. And Tommy DeVito, who's been sacked 35 times across 5 games, well, one of those games is a 0 against the Packers. So sometimes you can't account for things. For Green Bay, it's a week at a time. Go beat Carolina. You have to beat Carolina. And then we move on to that big game on New Year's Eve where the Vikings and Packers. So look, that'll probably, in my opinion, after the Vikings whoop Detroit this weekend and Dallas whoops Detroit, next thing you know, the Vikings are going to win the NFC North.
I'd love to see it.
I'm just messing around a little bit, but thanks for tuning into this little segment, Packers Panthers, on the Paul Farrington Show.